fans, and welcome to another exciting edition of Cammy's Comic Corner. I'm your host, as always, Cammy. Now, while reading through the comments, I've noticed there is some concern over me spoiling certain titles. So if this is your first rodeo and your first time viewing Cammy's Comic Corner, spoiler warning, I guess, motherfuckers, because I go through every single book and spoil the fuck out of it for you, so you don't have to waste your money on it if you don't think it's going to be worth your money after hearing my review of it. Hope that makes sense? It makes sense to me. So, moving on to the pick of the week. From Marvel, we have Uncanny X-Force number 4, written by Rick Remender and art by Jerome Opeña. Now, this is the final issue of this little story arc about killing Apocalypse. If you're not in the know, there's this clan that's raising this child who is embodying Apocalypse, and they want to, release him onto the world in a couple of years. Well, X-Force gets wind of this. They go battle this clan on the moon, and we come into this issue with Wolverine and Phantom X taking on the different horsemen of Apocalypse, and Phantom X using some nice little tricks up his sleeve to convince that they've been killed, while in the meantime having his ship transport the horsemen to another planet. Very tricky guy, this Phantom X. And while this is all going on, Deadpool is helping Archangel recover. He's feeding him. Don't ask what he's feeding him. He's slicing pieces of himself off of himself. Just like kind of that one demo volume 2 issue. Chew? It was Pang's check? I don't know. But anyway, it's kind of like that. And then also, Psylocke has found the child of Apocalypse, and she's protecting him from everyone, because everyone wants to kill this child. She was about to do. Has a change of heart because it's a kid. Maybe we can train it, Wolverine. Maybe we can train it. So, Wolverine can't bring himself to kill the kid. Archangel was very close to killing the kid, but he can't do it. So they decide, okay, listen, killing kids is wrong anyway. We can just take him back to Earth, we'll train him, and then BAM! Phantom X takes the whole situation into his hands and does what none of them could. He pulls the trigger. Kid Apocalypse is dead, and they make it off the ship right before it's about to transport again. Very damn good issue. If you were a fan of the original X-Force line, this does wonders. This Uncanny X-Force. Jerome Opeña's art on this is just so fitting, and Rick Remender knows how to write each and every one of these characters. He doesn't go over the top on Deadpool like some other writers do. He keeps it just sane enough, and you can tolerate it. It's good stuff. It's a spectacular issue, this issue 4. Go pick it up, and look at that Asada Ribic cover. It made my list of favorite covers this week on the website. But yeah, just gorgeous stuff. Hands down, pick of the week. Now on to the Fast 5. First up, from Marvel, we have Avengers number 9. Now, when you think Avengers, you think, especially written by Brian Michael Bendis, you think lots of dialogue. Well, that's right, you do get lots of dialogue, but it's explaining to all the Avengers, and you get Avengers, New Avengers, you get Secret Avengers, you get all the Avengers teams under this one title, so it's aptly named Avengers. But everyone is on the same page now, everyone knows that the Illuminati existed, about the Infinity Gems, and more importantly, well, what's the plan now? Do we, try to just go after this guy using our own powers? I mean, if he has the Power Gem and he beat down the Red Hulk, shouldn't we use gem versus gem? I mean, 4 gems on 2 gems, good odds, right? Especially if these guys know how to work the gems. So that's going to be the game plan. And meanwhile, we find out that the person in charge of the reality and power gems, Parker Robbins, we get his whole backstory about how he was moved from the Raft down to Rikers because he doesn't really have any superpowers, and then how he planned his escape with the help of his new Inhuman buddy. So it was a very good issue. John Romita Jr. just nailed it, and I'm sure it took him forever to draw every single Avenger because at least all of them made an appearance in this book. But yeah, it's tons of fun. I was always a fan of the more Illuminati-type stories for the Avengers, so this one was definitely right up my alley. Next up from Vertigo, we have Scalped number 45. In this issue, Jason Aaron kills Alan Moore. No, that's the wrong issue. No, Red Crow is actually being ousted from Chief of the reservation by another guy named Hassel Rock Medicine, who is kind of like the only saint left on the reservation, and Red Crow knows this, but Shunka thinks like, oh, well, we can just take out him, his daughter, silence this whole thing. But Red Crow has to explain to him, like, no, when I had no father, this guy was like my mentor. Like, he taught me how to be a good man, and he knows that he's clean, and he wants to, you say, okay, go ahead and run against me for being the chief with the council and whatnot, but, I think we have a good chance of winning. And then we see that he's plagued by visions again, seeing that he is pretty much screwed. He's going to hell, as it were, and so he wants to pray. And the whole issue is just about Red Crow trying to become a better man. He's been trying to these past couple of arcs, but now, we're going to see if he's going to stop playing dirty and actually, do what's right, or is he going to have a change of heart at the last second? Who knows? This is a good issue. We get a little appearance by Catcher, and Officer falls down at the end, but this is Scalped. It's the best comic at Vertigo right now. Hell, probably at DC. I'm willing to place a bet on that as well. Next up from Marvel, we have Thunderbolts number 152. Now, we have Godzilla monsters attacking Japan. It was part of one of the MODOK and the leader's backup plans, just in case the whole thing's went awry. And since Red Hulk isn't around to take care of it, for whatever reason, the Thunderbolts are going to go take care of it. So, with the help of this new Hyperion, which they don't know if he's the evil or good, not so sure, but it's obvious when they first get there and they see these huge monsters coming at Japan, that Hyperion can, he can walk the walk and talk the talk. Until there's one point where he gets shot down, and then they're, okay, well, we, I guess, assumed that was going to happen anyway, so let's go in and kick some monsters' asses. They are having a hard time going against these monsters for whatever reasons, but then they kind of, they're dropping like flies one by one at the end, because Hyperion doesn't seem to be all that he's cracked up to be. He seems to be a kind of a bad dude after all at the end. It's a cliffhanger, but what I can tell you is Kev Walker draws some gorgeous monsters in here. I mean, if Kev Walker didn't have anything else, or if he had something else going on and they needed another person to draw monsters, the only person that comes to mind is Brian Sharia. He would be another good one to replace Kev Walker. But no, Kev Walker having Thunderbolts versus Godzilla-type monsters, that's worth your money right there alone. Good issue. Thunderbolts is fun again. And, don't judge a book by its Greg Land cover. Pick it up. Next up, from DC, we have Detective Comics number 873. Now, we have the end of the Black Mirror house arc. We have the dealer sicking the bitters on Batman because he knew he was in the room. And so now Batman has to try to get out of this house, fight his way out amongst these bitters without inhaling too much of this gas. He doesn't know if it's like the Scarecrow's gas, if it's someone else's gas, but he's starting to hallucinate a little bit at the end there. And when he wakes up after breaking out, he sees that Barbara has hacked his legs off. No, it's just another vision, but it's still a damn creepy one. And then he has to recover his strength, go get the dealer in flight because the dealer said he was leaving in the morning, and then there's a big old battle on the plane. The dealer transforms into this giant, man-bat thing, and you're thinking, oh my god, this guy's not real. Well, Dick Grayson, he's quite the detective. He saw the dealer inject with, mini needles, some old venom serum mixed in with some of the man-bat serum, and that's what the result is. Well, as the plane goes down, there's no body found at the crash site, so we think the dealer has gotten away. So Dick can finally, come to terms that he is this Gotham's savior, he is Gotham's Batman, and now he can start decorating the apartment a little bit of old, the Flying Graysons, and then actually put a mirror in his house. But it was a very good arc. Snyder and Jock have just been kicking ass, and you should be going to go see why they are kicking ass. It's only $2.99, people. It's no longer $3.99. It's a deal. It's a bargain. Go pick it up. You'll be happy that you did. And finally this week from Marvel, we have the Fantastic Four 587. Now, I made this book last on my list for a reason. Tuesday morning, I was going to avoid the internet all day. I was going to go, okay, silence all cell phones. I'm not going to check out any news sites or comic blogs until I have read Fantastic Four number 587. Then I get an email from Marvel because I'm on their press list. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll just check the headline really quick. And I'm sure it's something regarding, oh, Fantastic Four is coming out this, today. Go pick it up. And right in the goddamn title is Marvel extinguishes the Human Torch. What? Marvel, you couldn't... I know you just can't keep it in your pants, but really, you gotta show it to me that early in the morning? I mean, and then it was rampant on all other, news sites, and the Associated Press was just, whoring it out. So it was really hard for comic book fans on Tuesday to get through the entire day without getting it spoiled. Who dies, and, in the end of the issue. I was looking forward to it, because with this arc, Hickman provided enough, different red herrings that you didn't know what to expect. And that's great, because nowadays in comics, you hear about the death months in advance, and you're thinking, okay, well, they'll be back in a year or whatnot. And that was exactly the case with Fantastic Four, except I had no clue who was going to die. Found out who it was, and I was very disappointed. That kind of spoiled it for me, but despite it being spoiled for me by Marvel itself, fuckers, it was an enjoyable issue. It was a really good issue because what Jonathan Hickman has been doing this past arc is giving you multiple different possibilities, scenarios. You got Reed on New World, trying to save the whole planet, or the conscious at least. You have Sue trying to unite two kingdoms underwater and then being proclaimed leader of the newest civilization herself, or the old civilization. And then you have the Annihilation Wave hitting the Baxter Building, and only Johnny and the Fantastic Four kids and Ben Grimm holding down the fort. So it could have happened to anyone, basically. But you see that it's the Annihilation Wave that really does the most damage. Only they need someone to program the shield after they leave, and Johnny, you know, he takes control and goes out with a hearty flame on, taking down 1 billion, you know, Annihilation creeps and buggers. So it was a very bravo. However, we all know this isn't going to last long because this is 587. 600 is next year, and who's probably going to return from the dead and not actually be dead? Because technically, we did not see him die. We just saw him facing down the hordes of Annihilation, and then, you know, the last stand of Johnny Storm at the very end there. So he's probably not dead. He's probably just, you know, fighting him off for a year, and then he'll make his triumphant return in Fantastic Four 600. You can go ahead and quote me and come back a year, you know, after a year and see if I'm still right. But that's just my prediction. It was a good issue nonetheless. So despite all these rants, if you want more Cammy's Comic Corner goodness, you can head on over to www.cammyscomiccorner.com. From there, you can see the weekly reviews. You can see the newest feature that I've been loving to do every Friday, Cammy's Favorite Covers, where I highlight 5 covers that I enjoyed that week, write a little bit about them. And then also Book of the Month reviews, written reviews, and the audio spin-off podcast, Geeky Talkie. Last week, we did Oscar and Razzie nominations, so check that out. Also, big shout out to Rising Sun Creations at rse-online.com. They provide the best of U.S. comic books, manga, and collectible toys imported straight from Japan, all located at their Mission Valley store if you're in the San Diego area, or online at rse-online.com. So that does it this week for comic books. I'm going to go spoil the latest Harry Potter ending to some of the crippled children down at the orphanage and make them cry, because that's what Marvel did to me. They made me cry. Not really. But in the meantime, in between time, this has been Cammy's Comic Corner. I have been your host, Cammy. Sayonara. Signing off.